Hello everyone, in today's video we are breaking down the Trump tax cuts. What is on the table, how these changes could affect you, and my personal predictions on what is most likely to happen. But first, let us take a look at this clip from the White House press secretary outlining Donald Trump's tax priorities.
So these are the tax priorities of the Trump administration that the president has laid out for members in that meeting today. No tax on tips, which is obviously a very public campaign promise that the president made. No tax on seniors' Social Security. No tax on overtime pay. Renewing President Trump's 2017 middle-class tax cuts. Again, these are the president's priorities. Adjusting the SALT cap. Eliminate all the special tax breaks for billionaire sports team owners. Close the carried interest tax deduction loophole. Tax cuts for Made in America products. This will be the largest tax cut in history for middle-class working Americans. The president is committed to working with Congress to get this done.
The Trump administration has laid out a bold new tax plan aimed at cutting taxes for workers, families, and businesses. Again, here is a breakdown of what they are proposing. No tax on tips. This is one of Donald Trump's biggest campaign promises. No tax on Social Security income for seniors. No tax on overtime pay. Renewing the 2017 middle-class tax cuts. Adjusting the state and local tax deduction cap. Eliminating tax breaks for billionaire sports team owners. Closing the carried interest tax loophole. Tax cuts for companies that manufacture Made in America products. The administration claims that this will be the largest tax cut in history for working-class Americans. But how realistic is that? Let us analyze each of these policies and talk about the potential effects. Okay, let's start with the no tax on tips. This was one of Donald Trump's most publicized campaign promises, and he recently reiterated his commitment to eliminating taxes on tips during a speech in Las Vegas, stating that, "In the coming weeks I will be working with Congress to get a bill on my desk that cuts taxes for workers, families, and small businesses, and very importantly keeps my promise for a thing called no tax on tips." This sounds great for servers, bartenders, and hospitality workers, but there are some concerns about how this will work in reality. Here is my take. If you earn income from tips, this is a direct benefit that could increase your take-home pay. However, there is a potential loophole. Some workers and businesses may try to reclassify regular wages as tips to avoid paying taxes. To prevent abuse, I believe there will be a cap on how much tip income can be tax-free, but no official details have been released yet. Additionally, some economists warn that businesses may lower base wages since employees will now take home more from tips, which could offset the intended benefits of this policy. My prediction? This will likely pass, but with limitations to prevent excessive manipulation. Let's move on to no tax on Social Security income for seniors. Honestly, it is about time. The fact that seniors are taxed on their Social Security benefits, money they already paid into the system, is unfair. The administration has pledged we will have no tax on seniors' Social Security. Right now, here is how the Internal Revenue Service, IRS, taxes Social Security benefits. If you are single and earn more than $25,000, 50% of your Social Security income is taxed. If you are married filing jointly and earn over $32,000, 50% of your Social Security income is taxed. If you earn over $34,000 as a single person or $44,000 as a couple, then 85% of your benefits are taxed. The problem? These income thresholds have never been adjusted for inflation, which means that more and more seniors end up paying taxes on their benefits every year. The big question is, will Donald Trump push for full elimination, or will the income thresholds just be adjusted? My opinion? Full elimination is the goal, but negotiations may result in a compromise that raises the income limits instead. However, some critics argue that eliminating Social Security taxes could reduce funding for the program, potentially forcing benefit cuts in the future. Next, let's move to no tax on overtime pay. Donald Trump recently stated, "As part of our additional tax cuts, we will end all taxes on overtime." This is meant to incentivize workers to take on more hours while making it easier for businesses to hire employees willing to work overtime. But here's where things get tricky. What is stopping companies from lowering base pay and classifying more hours as overtime to avoid taxes? What about workers who adjust their schedules just to get tax-free income? For example, let us say I earn $100 per hour and work 40 hours per week. That is $4,000 in taxable income. But if my employer lowers my base pay to $40 per hour and classifies everything over 40 hours as overtime, I could now earn 80 hours of tax-free income. This kind of pay restructuring loophole could become a serious problem, so I predict that a cap will be introduced on the amount of overtime pay that can be tax-free. Let's move to the next one, renewing the Trump tax cuts. The Tax Cuts and Jobs Act of 2017 was one of the biggest tax reforms in decades. However, these tax cuts are set to expire at the end of 2025, with some already phasing out this year. Renewing these cuts is one of the highest priorities of the administration. My prediction? The Trump tax cuts will almost certainly be renewed, though some aspects may require negotiation. Next item, adjusting the SALT cap. The state and local tax cap limits how much state and local taxes residents can deduct on their federal tax returns. Right now, the limit is $10,000, which disproportionately affects high-tax states like California, New York, and New Jersey. Ironically, this has led to Democrats pushing for tax cuts while Republicans are resisting them, at least on this issue. Most likely, Donald Trump will use raising the SALT cap as a bargaining chip to gain support for other tax priorities. Final predictions. What is likely to happen? Here's where I see things going. The Trump tax cuts from 2017 will almost certainly be renewed. Eliminating Social Security taxes has a strong chance of passing. No tax on tips and overtime will likely have caps to prevent abuse. The carried interest loophole will probably be used as a bargaining chip. While these tax changes may provide financial relief to many Americans, they could also increase the national deficit, which means potential long-term economic trade-offs. What do you think? Do you agree with these tax proposals? Which ones do you think will actually pass? Let me know in the comments section below. If you found this breakdown helpful, hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you do not miss future updates. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.